So let me start our presentation. Alberto, if you see anyone else coming into the lobby, could you admit them until you take over, please? I just we're going to run through just a very quick background on Kodak and who Kodak are for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then we're going to hand over to Alberto. A lot of you will not have heard of Kodak or don't know who we are, so it's just a very, very brief background on us. And then Alberto will get stuck into the Power BI piece for you. At any point in the day, more than happy to take questions throughout the presentation. So if there's anything that comes up that you want to go into a bit more detail on or you want to ask questions, by all means, please just stick it into the chat or use the hand, and you'll be able to stick your hand up and we'll come back to you and answer any questions you have. At the end of the session, there is going to be a feedback form. That'll allow us to capture your details and also allow you to request access to the recordings from the other sessions if you want to see any of the other sessions. So with that, I'm just going to get stuck in here and we'll move on. So Kodak, small bit of background. Kodak, we're an IT organization originally founded in Dublin in 1985, and we're now up to 240 staff between Dublin, Belfast, Germany, and Poland. The majority of our staff are on island in Dublin and Belfast. We as an organization over the last 35 years have been through a number of transformations in terms of starting off as an IT company selling hardware to what we do today. And hopefully some of what you're about to see will make that clear. Gartner are starting to talk about the third era of IT. Now I've always been curious myself as to what the first and second eras were, but nobody has actually been able to answer that for me. IT is becoming more relevant to the business. It's not about technology anymore. It's about delivering business solutions. It's about delivering solutions for your customers. You know, every penny that's spent nowadays is reliant on IT for engaging directly and improving business processes and improving customer relationships. We believe that for organizations who are going digital, they need to look at a number of things. They need a dependable IT partner. They need that single throat to choke. They need to look to consolidate vendors. They want local partners. They want agile partners, but they expect the processes and controls in place that you expect of the metaphorical big four, those traditional consultancy houses. But they also want innovation, and they want their partners to be looking forward of ways of improving and bringing things to the table for them. We see ourselves as a dependable IT partner. As I mentioned very, very briefly, we're established in 1985, offices in a number of countries, 240 headcount, and we're award-winning practice both with Microsoft and with Oracle. With 35 years of industry know-how across retail, manufacturing, commercial, public sector, utilities. The one thing this slide that always interests me is Burger King. Sort of think about, as an IT company, what do we do at Burger King? And it's based on their back-end management processes around stock control and things like that. So every time you buy a burger in certain Burger King franchises, some of our technology is in there helping to deliver it. We also believe in our people. We're well below the industry standard turnover, and we continually try and retain and manage and improve on our existing people. We challenge them to grow and enjoy, to get involved in exciting projects, to get involved in the cutting edge of technology and be able to bring that to the table and ensure that our customers and our partners understand what technology is capable of doing for them. We challenge them to grow and to know more and to do more. From an award and accreditation perspective, you know, it's very easy for us to tell you how good we are, but for us, it's important to show you how good we are. We have, you know, we're not just a Microsoft Gold partner. We're a Microsoft Gold partner across 12 different accreditations through cloud business applications, data center, DevOps, productivity, ERP. We also have silver accreditations in enterprise mobility management and messaging. And we've been recognized as the country partner of the year 3 of the last 5 years. The data center transformation partner of the year last year, and we've been the Dynamics partner of the year for Microsoft in Ireland for 7 of the last 8 years. But beyond those accreditations, we also have the management processes in there with ISO 9001, with ISO 20000, ISO 27001, and security with Cyber Essentials. So, we maintain those accreditations, we maintain those processes, and we maintain the skills to be able to deliver a solution on your behalf. If you look right across the stack, and we're one of the few partners we believe in Ireland that can deliver right across the stack, whether that's hardware, dynamics for customer service, customer engagement, ERP, business intelligence we're going to talk about today, modern workplace, cloud migrations. We can deliver all those for you and give you that strategic relationship and strategic partnership that allows you to trust and believe in what you're being told and what you're being presented with. This is a diagram. Whenever you go to buy a car, you don't buy a set of wheels, you don't buy an engine, you don't buy a body. You don't try and pull together, bits from a number of different vendors. You want one single version of the truth. You want to buy the right model that has everything built together, that blends well together. And if there's a problem, you've got clear ownership, and that it's fast and it's agile. And just to re-emphasize, for us, from a Microsoft stack, it's the full suite of solutions: Dynamics, ERP, cloud and productivity, business analysis, quality assurance, and the Power Platform. When we talk about the management skills expected at a Big Four, when customers want projects delivered, they want to understand how projects are going to be delivered, how we're going to maintain the discipline, how we're going to maintain the structure, how we're going to do it. We have come up with a number of processes aligned heavily to existing, waterfall and best practice, but where we've polished them based on our experience with customers over the last number of years, to give certainty around value realization, to give the ability to be flexible, to flex up and flex down, and to move with what our customer requirements are. We have a high dependency on our project management office and the disciplines around quality management, resource management, assumption, RAID, everything you would expect from a professional partner. And security is at the center of everything we do. From our own internal IT security and our processes to make sure that anything we do doesn't impact or affect you, through to building in security in all of our solutions, right through to helping you to protect your endpoints and to protect your environment. We can take it right from the very, very beginning with business analysis, through researching and interviewing and data analytics. But actually, more important to us, it's down through the relationship management and the change champions. One of the biggest challenges we all see with technology is change and adoption management, and getting your people on board, and getting your people on board early through to UI and UX. Quality assurance, making sure that we've got the tests in place that before the solution gets to you, it's at the right quality, where we can build in automated testing for future changes, performance testing, to make sure that the solution is fit for purpose, and give you the reports to show you the level of testing that's been done for your own internal beliefs, for your own audits, to show that you've gone through the correct and proper processes. And the last element of it is innovation. We have a wing of the company that's geared purely towards innovation. We look at the work we do across all of our clients, across all sectors, and we're looking for common areas, and we're looking to bring from those common areas known solutions to help guide and manage our customers through quick deliveries and quick value, through innovation. An example of that is, we've built a solution for GDPR for Dynamics 365, which allows to do consent tracking, anonymization, report on data breaches, It's configurable in terms of what model you want to put in place and data management. It's just one example of a number of innovations that we have gone right across the business through the SharePoint element, through ERP, through additional workloads within the Dynamics practice. And again, just to call out, we believe that you guys need a dependable IT service partner, a single throat to choke with a proper management aspect put in there and innovation coming along. And look, that's who we see ourselves as. That's why today this event is running 6 different streams. You're on the Power BI stream, but we have streams running for ERP, with streams running for Dynamics, with streams running for Azure, with streams running for Append a Day, all at the same times today. So look, I'm going to post a link for feedback. Your feedback is key to us. It's important to us, but it also enables us to reach out to you and follow up on anything else, and it'll enable you to get access to the other recordings. So without any further ado, I'm going to pass across to Alberto. Anyone who has any questions throughout the day, please feel free to ask and make the session as interactive as possible. Thank you. Alberto, do you want to share your screen?
Yes, will do. Give me 2 seconds. Brilliant. Thank you very much, everyone. So what I want to do in this workshop is we're going to build a report from scratch. We're going to try to give you a quick overview of all the Power BI features. We would like to do that. It's impossible for me to take everything in. However, what I will try to do right now is to create a report, walk you through the main characteristics, the main features that Power BI has to offer when you work with fixed data sets. You can connect to more than 300 data sets on Power BI. We're going to be using just a couple on this workshop. By the end of it, you should have a clear understanding on what to expect from Power BI, what it can do for you, and what it definitely can do for you. It is a very powerful tool, but it is limited on terms that it is not a CRM. It is not a tool to modify data, but it is a powerful tool if you want to do analysis and get a thorough understanding of your data. So what the data sets we're going to be working with is the sales data set, which has around 3 million records. And the other one is our BI dimensions, which are products, manufacturers, and geographic information. So without further ado, let's get cracking. So what I did was I have opened Power BI Desktop. We're going to be working on Power BI Desktop most of these workshop. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to open these datasets into Power BI. Okay. So if we go to get data, we can see some of the data sets we can get. And we're going to select text CSV, and we're going to import sales. Okay. Now, as you can see, we have loaded this. This record is based it's going to create a preview, and it's going to be based on the first 200 records. Our delimiters are comma, because this file is a CSV. Every source of data has its own wizard that walks you through the transformations that you may want to do to this data. So in this case, we're going to transform the data to show you what you should expect on this. As you can see, our zip codes are handled as numeric. What happens if one of those numbers has preceding zeros? Those zeros would be truncated. We don't want that. What we're going to do, we're going to change this quick enough by adding a step in which now we can see preceding zeros. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add another source to this. As you can see, this navigator is different than the one we had before. This one is oriented to Excel. Here you can see a table that I had specified before. We have our geo coordinates and all. We have our manufacturer. Now, what we are going to do here is we're going to add product table. We're going to add geo and manufacturer. As you can see, it has imported the data. Granted, it has some issues here, but we're going to be tackling those little by little. We tried to put data that is a little messy because not all data is perfect. However, most people think on Power BI that it can only connect to clean sources. That is not the case. We can connect to any types of sources, and we can manipulate our data sets to be as clean as possible. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another source, which in this case is going to be a folder. So our international sales, these are national sales. International sales come from a folder. So I'm going to add this folder, and the wizard will detect that there are several files there. And it'll say, okay, I found this information, I found these files. Are we okay to proceed? So I say, okay, yes, combine all those files into just one file and create that as a table. As you can see, these we can use any file as a sample to see what to expect. And then what I'm going to do as soon as this stops loading, I'm going to click on OK, and now it is going to process all that into a table and set it as international sales. As you can see, here are our sales. So what I'm going to do here is, let me see in my steps what I had to do next. So let's see let's see source name and let's see country here. These column can be used as a key to point to the table in the future. So we're going to be working on this Australia.csv column because this is the source of the file, but it could also be used as a key to create another column in case that country was not available. Okay. As you can see, what I did there is I want to see all the records or the different records that exist in country. It creates a list out of the first 1,000 rows. But if we want to see more, we have that option that it's going to take a little bit more time, but we can give Power BI the instruction that go and fetch all the different countries so we can get a consolidated list on and start filtering on that one. So what we will do now is we are going to explain how to transform data once it has been loaded into tables, as you see here on my left. As you can see, it just took a matter of minutes, and our queries pane is looking a little busy. So we can also organize that into folders and subfolders to keep everything more organized. So what I will do now is I'm going to show you the query editor. The query editor is a powerful tool we have to transform our Power BI datasets in managed and controlled steps that we can trace back and correct as we move along. So the first step we did here is we brought data from the source. Power BI promoted the first row as headers. And if you remember, we changed the type of the zip from text, from number to text. So this list is there for us to help us track what we have done so far. This list is also renameable, and you can change, and you can edit names and change the steps in both order and in name. So let's say change type of right. So now we know exactly what happened on this step. Sorry, I'm having some troubles here. Now, what I'll do here is I'm going to start renaming this because these tables will in turn transform into our final tables for our model. So we want to make them as clear as possible to our users. if our user sees geo, there's not much information they will get from it. But if we change it to geography, it will be a little more informative. Now, what I will use now is a feature called filling empty values. So what I'm going to go is I'm going to go on product, and then I am going to select the category. As you can see, there are a lot of null values here. So sorry, I got distracted there. So what we can do here is if we go to the transform panels, we can select a feature that is fill down. So fill down will go into the rest of the records and try to find if I had the product Abbas MA02 all season at some stage on the list and it has a category, it will populate this category for me. That way I can get rid of my null values. I don't have to manipulate my Excel spreadsheet and go and make sure that all my records have the same category. So long as a couple have it, I can just go in and fill it down, and Power BI can do that for me. And it has created another step for us. Now, what I'm going to do is, if you see here the product, it has product / all season, which is a type of category. So these should have been 2 columns. I don't want these to be displayed to the user because it's not as clean as I would have liked. So what I will do is I go to transform again and I select the split column by delimiter. And then I can select from a list, or in this case, because it's a pipe, I can just add the pipe. And what we will do is it will remain, we can tell it, you can split at the leftmost, rightmost, or each occurrence of the delimiter. So I'm going to select that one because I know it's only in the middle. And you can split it in as many columns as you want, right? So in this case, I'm just going to go like this and select OK. And it has created another column for me, as you can see. As you can see, the pipes are gone here, and now I have my other categories or types. What I will do now is I'm going to rename this one as product. And I will rename this one as segment. Now, I will use another feature now that is called that can use examples from another column to fill out the rest of the values. Okay. So what I will do here is I will I will add a column from examples. And what I will do is I will add a price. Is the price you see on the last column. As you can see, it detected that I am typing the price, and it automatically input all the rows from price without the currency. Now, what I will do is I will name it at MSRP and click on OK. Now, notice that the MSRP field is of the data type text. It must be a decimal because we are handling prices. So let's change that. This time I won't go into home and change it here. We can just click here and say fixed decimal number. As you can see, it has automatically changed it, and now it's the currency we want. Again, you can notice that we added a new step here, and these steps are getting populated as we go. Similarly, let's create a currency column. So with this one, what I will do is I will create another column from examples. And what I will do here is I will select the currency. And I typed USD, which is the currency. And when I clicked enter, notice that Power BI knows that I am trying to split the price column, right? The formula it uses is displayed as well. So what I will do is I'll double click on the text before delimiter and change this as currency. So I will click on OK. And you can see that the price column has now been split in two. Now we have to split the price into the MSRP and currency columns. Now that we have split them, we don't need the price column, so we can just get rid of it. What happened, Alberto? I needed that column. Why did you remove it? Not to worry. We just delete this step and the column appears. That is the usefulness of having those applied steps placed here in order. We can go back and remove one step or modify the step if we need to. Now, what we're going to do is, what happens if you have rows that you don't want? So let's take care of that. So let's go to geography now. And you can see that there is some data that may not be very clean. So what we will do is we go to home, and then if we go to remove rows, we can remove the top rows. How many? Well, you can see it's only 2. And why only 2? I see you have 3, and the 3 should be the third one should be removed as well. Well, the thing is that we need that row, because that row has the headers. So what I will do is I am going to use the first row as my headers. and that will promote the first row as headers. And as you can see, it's starting to look more clean than before. It took us 2 minutes to clean a table, and it is, as you go along, you'll figure out that it is the combination of these steps what makes the most of it on how we can cleanse and we can appropriately track all the changes that we as users are doing to our data sets. Most of the work we have done with customers is that we do transformations for them. And as we are understanding the requirements and what happens to the data sets that they produce, is they themselves sometimes are not very clear on what all the steps that they have to go or that they have to subject their data to, because it is so empiric at times. So with this, we're trying to give users a controlled way on how to clean data sets in a way that any new user can just go into the geography table and say, okay, why does this not match the Excel? And we can see through the list of steps exactly what happened to the data sets to reach the point where we are at. That way, we're preventing users from deleting unwanted rows or from modifying a key piece of information. Okay. So notice that the query geography is as we wanted. So we're going to start from there. What we're going to do now is we have the same problem on zips here. So we'll change those to text. Now from what I'm going to select is I'm going to go to manufacturer and notice the bottom 3 rows. We need to remove them. So similar to that, I'll remove the bottom rows. Sometimes the bottom rows can be used in Excel for totals or for subtotals. We can just get rid of those because we can create those aggregations in Power BI. So we're going to select 1, 2, 3, choose the number of rows we want to delete. Okay, and we remove the bottom rows. Now, what we are going to do now is to transpose data. On manufacturer, notice that the manufacturer ID, manufacturer and logo data is laid across in rows. We need them transposed. So what we're going to do is we're going to transpose this. And as easy as that, you now have a table. I can see that my column 1, column 2, and column 3 should not be there. It should be manufacturer ID, manufacturer, and logo. So sorry. Okay, so I have created my table, and it's looking sharp. So notice now that manufacturer table is laid out the way we need it, with header and values along columns. Notice on the right panel under applied steps that we have the list of all the applied steps, right? And some of them you can notice there's a gear. We have options on those steps. If you go into them, whatever configuration we did, you can see you can change it. So this is what we started with, and through steps we finished where we are. Now. Now, what we're going to do now is to append queries. To analyze the sales of all countries, it is convenient to have a single sales table and not to have international sales and sales divided in two tables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select sales. And I'm going to go into append queries. And there is an option to append two tables or three or more tables. So what we're going to select is leave two tables, and then we're going to select international sales. And as you can see, that there's a new column on the sales table, which is called country. Since international sales have that column, country, Power BI decided to add that column because sales didn't have it. You can see that these values are null in the country column for the table, for the records belonging to the table sales. So we will add values here to fill those out. However, we don't know where these are coming from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change those values now. But first I wanted to show you that the values from Australia, Japan, and Mexico are there. So we are missing the records for the sales table. So what I will do now is I will add a column, and it is a conditional column. So I'm going to call this country name. So what I will do is I will select country, and then let's see if it does not belong to that equal. Yeah. So I will select equals null. Then there we go. So as you can see, now I have null values. This is something I wanted to do because we need to add another clause, which is else, an else clause. But this is something you can do in Power BI. If you forgot something or made a mistake, you can come back to it easily and see that it is now populated. So you can see that now all my countries are filled out. So the original country column was only required as a temporary column. It is not required in the final table, so we can just remove it, and we'll end up with the country name column. Sorry. Now these will rename this one as our country. And what we're going to do is I see that this one changed it to alphanumeric, but we're going to select it as text only because I don't expect to see any numbers there. And we can see that the revenue here is a decimal number, but we need a fixed decimal number because we're talking about money. So I'm changing that one as well. And the newly named column, country column, will have names of all the countries, including Ireland. You can validate that. We validated those, and we saw that they matched. Okay. Now, typically, when exploring data, we load a subset of data. There are multiple ways to do this. So from here, I'm going to go to Home. I'm going to go to Keep Rows, and then I'm going to select Keep Top Rows or Keep Top Rows or Keep Range of Rows. You can use any of these options to filter down a subset of data. Our data set has data from 2013 to 2019. For our analysis, we want to start with the last 3 years of data, which would be 2017 to 2019. We don't know how many rows, so we can select that. And we can go, oh geez, sorry about that. So this is just for filtering purposes, and so I'm going to just set that as aside. And now that international sales is appended to sales, we don't need our international sales to be displayed here. So I'm just going to go ahead here, and I'm going to delete this table. Sorry about that. So what we have done now here by selecting enable load, we need this as a reference, but it won't load whenever we load this model. So the appropriate data from international sales table will load into the sales table each time the model is refreshed. By removing this international sales table, we are preventing duplicates from loading into the table and adding some unwanted records. Now, what we are going to do is to track our dependencies on how we have been building. You can see Power BI is tracking exactly what we are doing with our data sets. So that not only gives visibility to us as report developers, but it also gives other users that we share this report to the visibility of on the transparency of what is happening to the data and how we arrived or how we reached these results. So now that we have made some modifications, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this and apply all those changes into our data model and wait for them to load. So what it is doing now is all the data is being loaded into memory with Power BI Desktop. You'll see the process dialog. It takes from a couple of seconds to a couple of minutes, depending on the processing capabilities on your personal computer. Once you publish a report to the Power BI service, that processing is being done by the cloud, but right now, unfortunately, it depends on the processing power on the machine it is being developed on.
Alberto, I think you need some mood music while we're waiting on this.
Yep. Power BI, in the meantime, what I'm going to tell you is Power BI consists on three different tools in one. The first one we have gone through is transforming, optimizing, and polishing all your data sets so that you end up with a clean canvas with all your data laid out in the way you want it. The next part we're going to work on is on modeling. Modeling data helps us create relationships between our tables so that we can link sales from country A to the details from country A. Maybe we have costs, maybe we have product descriptions, maybe we have publisher data for books, or maybe we have as the size of water pumps if we're dealing with water. It depending on what you want to relate your sales, your purchases, your water samples, your book deadlines, emissions, you can link those to a number of dimensions that we can later on. Okay, so I got an error. Let's see the error. How well we can see that the tables appear here. I will go to see this error and see exactly what happened there. We can troubleshoot that and see what we get. So you have the transformation piece, which is exactly where we are on the query editor, which is a powerful tool to manipulate our datasets. The second one is the Power Query Modeler that will help us establish all the relationships between our tables so that we can create intuitive reports. And the last bit is the visuals and all the interactions between visuals that we can create. So by using those three tools in that order, we can go from plain Excel spreadsheets to beautiful reports that we can publish and maintain automatically by just adding records and appending data to the existing Excel spreadsheets. Or as you saw, if we have international sales in a folder, we can just keep throwing files in there, and Power BI will automatically pick those up and process them correctly. I won't take too long on this. So what I will do is I already have the dashboard created, so we can skip those steps, and I can show you how the modeling piece looks once it's up and running. We still have half an hour. John, is that correct?
Yep, Alberto, that's correct.
Okay. Let's see if we can finish this off. Now, apart from Power BI Desktop, we have another thing called the Power BI Service. The Power BI Service is a workspace where you can publish and share all the reports you're creating with people within your company or within your organization. So let's say I create this report and I think I really have something here that we as a team can work on. So I decide to share this with John. The only thing I need to do is publish this report to the cloud, and it will be published under my subscription with my credentials, and I am the administrator of that report. If I want to create or share that with others on my organization, I need to go in and give them access. So it's not like everyone in the around the world can just get access to it, you know. So as you can see, what we have done here is we have created links along with another table that is called the dates table. So if you have ever heard of star schema or the snowflake schema, this is what they're talking about. You have the main component, which is your facts, in the center, which are your sales, and sales has a link. Let me make this bigger so you can see it. So you have sales has a link with zip country, and a sale can also have a date, so it's making a link to date. And it also has a product And those products in turn have a manufacturer. So that gives us the ability to filter sales by manufacturer, by date, by city. So this is where it starts getting interesting. Now, let's focus on how these relationships are built. A relationship is not hard to make in Power BI. It's just a matter of selecting a date and dragging it and dropping it into the appropriate date field, and Power BI will automatically detect what type of relationship it is. So in this case, it is detecting that one row in my date table has many occurrences on the sales table and not the other way around. So as you can see, all my relationships go from one to many, and from one to many, and from one to many. And Alberto, what do those arrows mean? Those arrows, what they mean is that the filter only goes in one way. If I selected a sale for 2020, it won't filter my date table. What we're saying here is that date table filters our sales, and my manufacturers filter out my sales and my products. If I select a product here, I will not get an automatic filter on my manufacturers. How this looks in action is we can now create a table in no time by selecting a manufacturer, which is using this. And what I want to do is I want to get a list of my products by manufacturer. So these, as you can see here on my right panel, they are coming from different tables, but the link, because we have established a link, it is now using that link to display the right data. So when I create the revenue per product, it is using that filter. And when I create it like this, it is using that that relationship to show me the revenue per manufacturer. It is not because we have made magic. It's just with the links we have created between the tables, we are able to track and to add more functionality to the existing data. Now, another thing in Power BI that is very important is the date hierarchies. So, so what is a date hierarchy? A date hierarchy is a line to go from my date today, which is the 23rd of June 2020, and breaking it down into quarters, into semesters, into months, into days, into weeks. By breaking these dates down, we are able to track down, going back to our model, to track down a sale by year, a sale by quarter, a sale by month. That way, if we select one of the two, so by selecting one of the two, it will give me a link between how that record was achieved. So if I want to see 2012 in sales on January the 8th, this is what I get. However, let me show you what I can do in Power BI. As you can see, by removing columns, it starts removing the redundant records. So it is grouping them. And when I select 2018, for example, now I get a subset of what percentage or what part of this pie chart corresponds to that year. We can start creating those relationships and get to visuals like this one, where you get a specific detail on sales and revenue per item, per year, per manufacturer, and you can drill down and drill through these records with relatively ease and in no time. Let me explain a little bit how that is accomplished.
So Alberto, there is a question on there in the chat from Noel. Once you've captured your sales analysis, can you then do some variation analysis by changing some factors to do some what-if findings?
Yes, you can. However, there is no what-if functionality built in Power BI at the moment. What you can do is, if you have your R formulas to make those analysis, or your Python libraries, you can import those and work with them on Python and create visuals with what-if scenarios to work on predictive analysis. Yes, that is the case, and you can build that functionality in Power BI, or you can build it directly on your data sets if you are working on a data warehouse or something of bigger dimensions. However, if you're just working on a fixed data set or something like a small data set with just 1 million records or 2 million records like we're doing right now, it is possible, and it is fairly easy given the fact that you have your libraries handy. On the latest release of Power BI, we got a new visuals and new functionalities on visuals that help us estimate the trend of a number through time, but it is relatively narrow, and it is not as customizable as a script on R on Python could work. Let me see if I can read the question. Does that answer your question? No. Nope.
Yes, Alberto, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to. It's quite useful when you're doing some sales analysis, and let's say you're looking at sales in a particular region or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite useful to be able to do a few what ifs. Well, what if we'd sold less in this area and more in this other area? Would it have made any difference to profit and things like that? Which allows you then to prepare your sort of account plan and your sales pipeline for the future months. So yeah, that was the reason. But yeah, your answer's fine, because really what you're saying is you can take the base data and just take the, if I'm understanding it right, take the equation and just make adjustments to the equation so that you can do those what-if scenarios.
Correct. So you can implement, if you have that formula in R, you can implement it in Power BI and create those and add your parameters, so that if you start changing parameters, it will send those parameters to your formulas and get your what if scenario. That is possible.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so what I was going to show next was the capabilities of Power BI to drill in and drill out of some data. So just to give a quick example on this one. So let's say we have a pie chart like here. We want to see, it's good to understand that Natura had sold 946,000 units, but that doesn't tell me much. So what I want to understand is what products are the most sold the most. So by creating a level of, as you can see on the right panel, by creating a layer of manufacturer, product, and date, we're telling Power BI to drill down through each one of those items in order as categories. What happens is we go here and we drill down, and now it's going to show me the products for Natura. And if we go into one of those products and we drill down, we see the sales of that product, of that manufacturer on that year. And we can keep doing that if we say in which month that happened. And what happens here is that when you start combining visuals, you're able to get not only matrices where you can start to get, let me show you here. So what you can start getting is these types of categories where you can filter and drill, and it looks very similar to what you can get from an Excel pivot table, but with so much more capabilities in a more robust solution like Power BI, where you have integrated visuals and you have the capability of publishing all this information to the Power BI service, where you have all your data sets controlled and constantly updating. Okay, no problem. Now, I want to start wrapping this up. I know that the time we had is very short, but I hope you got a little understanding of what Power BI can do for you and for your company by not only transforming data sets, but creating visuals in less than 2 hours. You can start working away with great visuals and with a great toolkit that can give you a thorough understanding of your data. What we are trying to achieve with this is let you know or show you the capabilities of this technology, where you have to do the assessment, the analysis, the report building just one time. And after that, if you keep maintaining those data sets, you will finally be able to focus on the thing that really matters, which is your data. So are there any questions at this stage? Is it possible
There's
to build?
There's a question in from Pamela. I think
is it possible to build income and
there.
to reports within Power BI? Yes. So if I'm understanding your question right, Pamela, is it possible to build an expenditure like on a table where you can say this is how much we got, this is how much we spent, and this is our margin? That is possible if we are able to build it in tables in the same model. Yes, that is entirely possible.
And Pamela, sorry, just let me add to that as well. We've done Power BI across different projects where we did it in our ERP implementation for a local customer, and the out of the box reports, there was a challenge because their definition of in progress versus out of the box wasn't the same. And we were able to build all of the Power BI reports that basically takes the feed directly out of their finance system on a nightly basis, and allows management to do the slicing and dicing as they need it. So as Alberto says, if we can get access to the tables, it is in theory possible, yes.
That's great, thank you.
Anyone else have any other questions for Alberto, or is there anything you didn't see today that you would have liked to have seen, or is there anything else you would like to hear? So I think there are a few questions that have popped in here, Alberto. There's one from Amanda. Specific question in joining data sets. If I have one spreadsheet with 3 names mapped to one main identifier, I think you can, does Power BI have the capability to produce an extract showing all combinations and name for all combinations of sub-identifier? Can you answer that one, Alberto? Sorry, Alberto, you're on mute.
Sorry, I was answering the question to myself. So yeah, what I was saying is that yes, we have this capability to make a cross join to get all the combinations. And once we have all the combinations, we're able to create a matrix of all these combinations and start working our way on once we have that sheet of combinations, how we can address or how we can link those to other data sets. Does that answer your question? Okay, perfect.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions for Alberto?
John, it's Noel here. I was just wondering, can you hear me okay? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can, yeah.
I was just wondering, I had to nip out at the start. I might have missed a slide or two, but I was just wondering, could you say something about what other generic platforms this product sits on top? Obviously, it sits very well on top of the Dynamics platform, but if you are using other, let's say, suites of software for other things within your company, how well does it sit, or what does it sit on top of in terms of that type of thing?
So Power BI works perfectly with Dynamics in a way that you have a native integration between Power BI and Dynamics. However, Power BI is its own product by itself, and it has an integration to more than 300 data sets. So a question on this one, how do you expose your data from your platform? Is it through an API?
Yeah, generally speaking, I'm really thinking of people who maybe in the public sector, you know, their HR system or their finance system has already been defined for them, and they do need extracts from those systems. So, you know, it could be something like Oracle Financials or Oracle HR Payroll, and they're wanting to do some extractions from that, bring it into Dynamics or into Power BI and do some analysis. So it's just, normally speaking, those products will have API, you know, facilities which allow you to connect. And I just really wanted to check that. And I think you answered it, Alberto. I think you're saying that the Power BI product comes with its own API feature, if you like, which should be able to connect to any pretty standard product.
Yeah, correct. So you can connect to Oracle databases, you can connect to NoSQL databases, you can connect to data lakes, you can connect to Excel spreadsheets, you can connect to SharePoint lists and folders. You can also connect to API RESTful APIs, you can connect to services, and you can also connect to streaming services like Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn feeds, in which you get sentiment analysis and all those new connectors. You can get streaming analytics, where instead of getting just a fixed picture in time of what happened, what you get is a constantly updating data set that in turn updates your visual. So you would be reading your tweet feed in real time. So you have that versatility. But yes, the short answer is, so long as you have a database behind it, or an API, or some way to connect Power BI to the extraction of data, you can most of the times automate it.
Yeah, that's grand. Thanks, Alberto.
No problem. I see. Yep. Do we have another question? No. I don't think that.
Folks, if there are no other questions, I want to say thanks a lot for your time. Again, we'd appreciate your feedback. I've posted the link again at the bottom of the chat there. It should only take a few minutes, and we'll be able to get back to you. If there's anything anybody wants to ask but wasn't able to ask online, or didn't want to necessarily bring up in the wider group, more than happy for you to connect to me directly. You should have my email address on the invite, and my LinkedIn's again is at the top of the chat. So please, if I can ask you to fill in the feedback form, and beyond that, we'll be in contact with you. So if no further questions, thanks very much, everybody, and have a good day.